Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber back with Ryan and Keisha. How you two doing?
Good.
Thank you very much for episode number 1. I know people are going to really enjoy the deal. It's fun to think about, but hopefully they took away lots of little nuggets, right? Relationships matter, going to RIAs matter, not burning the seller when you could, all of those things just keep the deals coming to you. So great work. Awesome. Well, what I want to do here is I want to remind people, both of you had real estate experience, were investors before one rental at a time, right? Before the book, before the course. You got the book. I guess I'll call it a selfie. I think Keisha, you're sitting on a bench reading the book. You remember that?
I do. And I'm like, oh, that's a horrible picture of me, right? But
well, you can always take a new picture. I
know, I need a new picture. I need a new picture for you to use.
There you go. Yeah, so I remember that. And then you bought the course. And now we just talked about all these great deals you're doing. What I want to talk about here is it's been 2 years. And I just want you, from your perspective, what did the course mean to you? Because you already had experience. And then how has the course helped you these 2 years and maybe created that discipline or that communication? I want to encourage people, frankly, to do the work. So I'll let you go from there.
You want me to go first? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh!
So the Zuber's course is awesome. I have to say that. And we have bought a lot of courses. We spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars before we purchased this course. So the main focus for me on this course was focus. It helped me focus on what our buy box is and what we're going after. And because of that, I think we have soared. So
awesome.
That's what I've gotten from it.
I have to agree too, because I think that a lot of times, and I speak for myself or people in general, is that you say, oh, I want to do real estate, but then you're like, hey, what does that entail? Like, what does that really mean? Or I want to have rental properties. What does that really mean? And I would say that, when we first started, we were just doing a little bit of everything, trying this, trying that. And this definitely allowed us to focus on where we want to be at. What is our target market? Are we staying within this location, or are we moving all over the city or out of the, like I said before, we stay in our city, but, even honing it down even further to what zip code we want to work in. So that was one of the biggest things that I think helped us realize, we need to focus on an area that we want to stay in. So that's one of the things when we first got the course, it's like, oh, let's find an area, let's stick with that area. And just basically make that our market. So that's one of the things that I really it helped us to basically start to continue to get better and better with our real estate.
And I'm glad that came up first, because that's step 1 of the course, right? I'm not this warm and fuzzy, gonna pump you up guy, right? I'm like, okay, time to go to work, right? Declare your market, right? Design your buy box. I don't tell you what it is. I'm like, go figure it out. And then, almost get religious with it, right? Look at it daily. And again, you guys came to this having spent money on other course and having 5-6 years of experience. It's still amazing how simple focus is, and then how many people don't really talk about it, right? They try to get you all excited. Oh, lease option here and land contract and this and that and seller financing. It's like, folks, we don't even know what a deal is yet. I can't even do the math on a freaking deal. What are we doing?
Right. Yeah. And I think that's so important. It's just focus on one thing and one thing at a time, because Ryan said, we spent money on things and because it sounds good at the time. Like, oh, I want to do this now. Oh, I want to do that now. Like you said, this sounds great. That sounds great. But it just allowed us to really say, let's do this one rental at a time. I mean, I know it's cliche, but it's just really what it is. Like, let's take this one deal. How are we going to make it work and do that?
That is so awesome.
And then the next one, and then it just you continue to do it that way, instead of just like, okay, I'm going to do apartments, and then I'm going to do condos, and then I'm going to do lease options, and and all of a sudden your brain is just on explode mode, and it's like, you know what, like, just take it one step.
I need a vacation.
It's like, I don't know even what I'm doing, and like I said, even at that, we work full-time jobs too at the same time, and it's just like, especially when you're working full-time jobs, you're trying to figure out what is the simplest way to make this work.
Yeah, that was a big one I wanted to go to next, is you guys came to this working full-time jobs, very demanding jobs. And again, the focus angle is important, but it's also freeing, right? Because not only do you focus, but the opposite of focus is, to me, is you let everything else go. All these other things and other distractions and other things that you know nothing, you just let them go, and you just hone in, and it makes it more efficient. You compound your knowledge because you look at the same buy box every day. And for some people, some pushback I get from folks, and I want to talk about this, is it's really funny. They like do it 7 or 10 days in a row, and they're like, Michael, I get it, I'm bored. And they're like, no permission to look anywhere else until at least 60 days. Is that fair? Yeah, because
I love looking every day.
Yeah, it's exciting, right?
We don't look as much as he does, because my brain is just everywhere sometimes. But like you said, it's just looking at that particular market, knowing what's going on. I'm probably more like a 3 or 4 day a week versus he's probably more 7 days a week, and awesome. Or he'll show me, hey, have you looked at this? I'm like, okay, let me go look into. And so we're constantly knowing what's on the market, what is sold for, if we're still in, this is still a good area for us. So
yeah. And then the other thing I'm sensing, but I'll ask for validation. It seems like you two are your communication, right? If Ryan's looking and you haven't seen it, you're speaking the same vocabulary, the same buy box. Because if you're not, he could be talking about another part of Toledo or Ohio, and you actually go backwards. But now that you're both in the same box, it's got to clean up communication. It's got to be a lot more fun, and you can jump on opportunities.
Yeah,
it's also fun. We deal with one real estate agent, and he's also an investor, and we've been dealing with him for about 9 years now.
Okay.
And he calls us sometimes and asks us about certain areas. What can we get this for? What can I get for rent for this area? Or what do you think this is really worth right now? Because he knows that we're constantly looking at it.
That is awesome. Again, when you have a buy box and you know it and you look at it every day, you become that expert, right? There are parts of Fresno that I know better than 99.9% of agents because I've looked for 20 years. I can tell you about that market a decade ago. I can tell you about it at the peak, at the bottom. It's just really powerful, and it allows you to make decisions so much quicker. How about the math, right? Inside my course, there's some math, right? Step 3 is math. I call it yield, right? The ultimate answer is yield. Are you comfortable before? Were you like, is math your thing, or is like math like numbers freak you out? Like some people are on both sides.
Math is your thing.
Over there.
I plug in the numbers and she just nods.
And I think that's also, it compliments us, like I know my number. I know it's kind of weird, but he does the math, he does the yield, he does all the percentages, and I'm like, it's over my head. I know that here's my rent, here's my expenses. This is gonna make me money.
Okay, all right, very cool. But you do talk yield, right? You do.
Yes.
Yeah. And if folks, if you don't know, episode number 1 from Ryan and Keisha, their last deal, over 100%. To say that's not normal is an understatement. But yes, that is pretty cool. So again, let's talk about a brand new member. So they buy the course, it's $300 now or $299. They get in the Facebook group, they're there a week. What do you want to tell that person? What would you tell them to do?
Don't get overwhelmed. Just work at it daily. If it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever your time capacity is, work at it daily. Don't get overwhelmed, and just take it, like I've said before, don't feel like people that are doing these great deals, amazing deals, getting things in their portfolio daily is something that you have to do right away. Because right now you're in the learning stage. You're in the point where you have just bought the course. You are just trying to learn. Take the time to learn it.
Don't rush, right?
And don't rush it. Don't rush it. Don't feel like you have to know what it is. Ask questions, because if you don't know what something means, we don't expect you to. Ask the question. I mean, there's things we're learning every day. Like, there's things that we don't know, and we're like, okay, what does that mean? So we ask. So feel free to do so. Yeah.
The other thing I would tell you to do is introduce yourself. Now the group's almost 1,000 members now. Lots of cross, synergies going on. So make sure you introduce. That's my number one thing, right? If you bought the course, you got in the group, you can just hide and kind of lurk Get a little uncomfortable. Introduce yourself. There's 1,000 people, generally speaking, very positive and helpful people. So introduce yourself and tell people where you're at, because I bet somebody else will be there as well.
Right.
So now let's flip the script. Now you've been in the group, you've been doing the work. Let's say it's been 100 days. You've written a couple of offers, haven't got anything yet. You're feeling frustrated. What do you want to tell that person?
Just trust the process, continue, stay focused. A deal will happen. Do not force it.
Yes.
It will happen.
Yeah. I think I remember, and this is obviously pre your course, but when we got together, we were kind of like one of those things that we knew that this is what our path was, but we wanted to buy our first rental together. And I think it took us 2 years, not to discourage anyone, but it took us 2 years before we actually purchased a rental. We inherited a rental from my first home that I owned before we were married, but we also wanted to purchase our first rental, and it took us 2 years. Yeah. And there was times where we're like, okay, is this for us? Is it like, are we not going to be able to do this? How we're going to get the money, down payment? We had no clue what we were doing, but we did it. And now we went from 1 to now we're at what, 16, 17,
20 doors, but 17 properties, 20 doors.
Right.
That's
and
awesome.
So it's just like one day you don't have anything, the next thing you know, you're at 17. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged. Just keep at it, daily, weekly, whatever your process is.
Yeah, the one rental at a time course is exactly what Olivia and I did to go from nothing to financial freedom. People in the group, they're just at different part. Everybody's on the same path.
Right.
It's hard for everybody in the beginning. The buy box is a cute idea, but you've got to do the work. Don't get discouraged. Keep showing up. If you feel it's repetitive after 7 days, you're missing the point. I've been doing the same market for 20 years. And like Ryan said, I'm excited every day because I don't know, 3 days this year, I'm going to find a deal of a decade. I don't know when those 3 days will happen, but if I don't show up, I'm not going to find them.
You're missing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Another thing I'll say to younger people, just an investment strategy. And we house hack.
Okay.
So we had the really nice home. We sold it, and I went to my wife, said, listen, we need to get in this real estate thing a little bit stronger. So we sold our house, moved to a twin flex.
Oh, there you go.
So we don't have a mortgage. So we can focus on our properties.
Yeah. That's
so
amazing.
If you're able to move into a twin plex, duplex, fourplex, to help you expand.
Step back to go forward.
Yes. I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. And then something I haven't asked anybody else, I'm going to ask you, when you two joined the course, I think it was just me or just our story, our process, but you've seen the bonus sections just explode as more and more people come along. Have you bothered to look at those? Or
we haven't looked at, I want to, because I want to look at Dion's stuff and
the binder strategy, I'm sure is going to be awesome for you. Yeah.
But that is another extra, that's awesome that you're getting so much for so little.
I didn't raise. It's just amazing. And again, it's a kudos to people that want to be a part of it, right? I vet the experts, obviously, but then they're like, hey, I want to add something. And the other thing that people should know about my channel and the course is I only talk about what I know. I never self-manage, can't talk about it. Never house hack, can't talk about it. But I know people who have. So we keep adding them. And I just added Airbnb. Never did Airbnb. I went out and found somebody, added Airbnb. So I want to thank both of you for being active members. I see it. I recognize when you're welcoming to new people. So I appreciate you both for doing that. Congrats on your deal, 100% yield. That's going to be hard to beat. That's not normal. So any closing thoughts or anything you want to say as we wrap up episode number 2?
I don't know if I have anything. I think I've kind of said a lot.
Keep doing the work, daily execution, and it will happen.
Yeah, good things will happen. Well, Keisha and Ryan, thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations on all of your success. You have earned it. You have done the work. You've maintained relationships. Much success. I can't wait to see what you guys get going in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.